Hey everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Jerry's Guide to Better Than Wolves. Today I'll be going over most of the changes to mobs, that is hostile mobs and not the passive animals as you saw in the last episode. So of course this includes skeletons, zombies, creepers, and of course all the stuff in the Nether. But first of all, we still have this screen. While you're watching the screen, I'm just gonna mention a couple of things. First of all, this is a tutorial, it's not a mod spotlight, so if you expect me to show the mod in the best possible way, this is not it. Secondly, release schedule, as I mentioned in the announcement for this series, is whenever I have time. My time has been rather limited as of late, so that's why there's been such a big delay between episode 3 and 4. Anyway, on to the good stuff. One of the most noticeable changes in Better Than Wolves is that if a mob is holding a piece of equipment, he will most likely drop it upon death. So if I kill the zombie here who's holding a shovel, you can see he dropped the shovel. Mobs dropping their equipment has a very high chance of happening, so if you see a mob wearing a full set of armor, chances are that you will get 3 out of 4 pieces when you finally do get around to killing him. The same goes for skeletons with enchanted bows. If they have an enchanted bow and you kill them, you will very likely get the drop. Zombies in Better Than Wolves, in addition to dropping their equipment, will also no longer drop potatoes and carrots. Instead, you will have to find a village if you want these crops. Skeletons have received a bit of attention in Better Than Wolves in that they no longer drop normal arrows. Instead, they drop a brand new item called a rotted arrow. This functions exactly like a normal arrow. It does the same amount of damage, but it does have one change in that it cannot be picked up and reused. Instead, it explodes on impact. Silverfish has also received a small overhaul in Better Than Wolves. First of all, they have been given a new unique drop to them, which hopefully if I kill a few here you'll be able to see. There you go. As you can see, Silverfish now drop clay. The drop chance of this is not incredibly high, but it is a source of clay that's not exhaustible, provided of course you didn't destroy all your silverfish spawners. If you did, however, fear not, as there are still ways to obtain silverfish in the mod. Witches have also received a small change in Better Than Wolves, namely, they no longer drop redstone or glowstone. Instead, they have a new unique drop to them called a witch's sword, which I did not get from that guy. There we go, there's a witch's sword. This works exactly the same as redstone in brewing potions, in that it extends the duration of the potion. And as you can see, these potions of regeneration are now slightly longer duration. It's exactly the same effect as redstone, but it's limited to witches now. The main purpose of this change is to give witches a reason to be in the game. And since they are linked to potions in that they throw potions, it would also make sense that they have a unique drop related to potions, and not just stuff that can be obtained from other sources. A number of changes have been made to Endermen as well. I'm gonna demonstrate this in creative mode, as otherwise it's extremely dangerous for my health. I have this little thing set up here to spawn, I think in total 20 Endermen at the push of a button. So if I punch this one a couple of times and start aggroing these Endermen. Alright, as you can see now, I finally succeeded in aggroing all these Endermen, and yes, if this happens to you in survival, you are utterly screwed. As you can also see here, one of the Endermen here is holding a piece of endstone. The way this works is the Enderman comes to this world and pick up a block. The random block pickiness has been changed a bit, so now they only take like from edges of hills. So they slowly smooth out the terrain if you leave them rampant enough. After holding a block for some time, they convert it into endstone, and once they have a piece of endstone, they have a random chance of teleporting away or disappearing. If you then go to the end and look at the Enderman there, you'll see that some of them spawn with a piece of endstone, which they will then put down and actively start rebuilding the end. So a very neat effect, and also a way to make endstone something that you can obtain more of, even though your end might be completely mined out. There has also been a number of changes to villages in Better Than Wolves. Namely, some of them have new traits. As you can see here, this guy wants to buy hemp. And certain mod items can only be obtained through trading with the villagers. In addition, villagers also now drop experience if one killed. So if I kill this guy, as you can see, it gives quite a bit of experience. Although, as you can see here, bam. As I mentioned in the start, a lot of these changes also apply to Nether mobs. So if you go to Nether here, and, well, you went through the portal I guess, go over my small bridge here. You see I found a nice little stronghold over here, so if you go here to check it out. Zombie Pigmen will now only spawn with a sword if they actually have a sword to drop, like with zombies. And of course I can see that putting the button here next to the gate was not a good idea. Anyway, as you can see, none of these guys have a sword, whereas they all do in vanilla Minecraft. So yeah, if they have a sword, they will drop it upon death, but not all of them then have swords. They still do the same amount of damage, but the sword is not displayed. Another change you will notice in the Nether is that along the outskirts of Nether fortresses you will find many more wither skeletons and blazes and magma cubes. This is because the instead of using the default vanilla mechanics for spawning stuff on the where stuff could more or less only spawn on like the walkways of fortresses, in Better Than Wolves they can spawn throughout the entire Nether fortress biome. So on all the netherrack around and such. This of course results in a lot more wither skeletons spawning, but it also gives you a lot more control over their spawning, because in addition to increasing the area, they've also received a limitation to the blocks that they can spawn on. So Nether mobs can now only spawn on blocks that are native to the Nether. That means netherrack, gravel, nether brick, soul sand, that sort of thing. Whereas if you were to cover the entire Nether in stone or sand or whatever, no mobs would spawn except for ghast, of course. This gives you a lot of control over where mobs can spawn and actually allows you to build a rather safe base in the Nether, which is a necessity in Better Than Wolves. A similar change to the Nether spawning is slimes in the overworld. Instead of being able to spawn anywhere beneath Y40 on slime chunks, instead they will now only spawn on naturally generated blocks, or naturally occurring blocks below Y40. So that means smooth stone, dirt, gravel, grass they can spawn on, whereas if you cover your caves in cobble, you won't have any slime spawning. The final change I will be mentioning is that mobs no longer freeze in place if the player is more than 32 blocks away from them. They will continue moving freely all the way to where the chunk is no longer loaded, so the full draw distance.